Welcome to Yoga with Prescott Library. We're going to have our mat class today. So have a mat, grab your chair, have it handy. Take a nice big breath in, just kind of find a good spot on the floor, kind of settle in. Engage that lower part of your tummy, bring your shoulders back and down. Just kind of focus in on your breath. Just take a few gentle breaths in and out. And drop your right ear to your shoulder. Just gently opening up your neck. You can have your hands on your knees or just kind of rest them a little bit behind you. A nice big breath coming up. And dropping over. Big breath coming up. And again, over towards your right. And coming up. Over towards your left. Just really focusing in on opening up your neck on the sides. It gets into your scalenes, your sternocleidomastoid. And gently coming up, just dropping into a gentle cat stretch. And coming up. Nice big breath again, dropping into a cat stretch. Nice big breath coming all the way up, over towards your right. Making these moves a little bit shorter. Up and dropping back in again to your cat stretch. And coming up, gentle side to side movements. Opening up your waistline. Nice big breath and gently apple picking, opening up your body. And this time a long stretch over towards your right, making sure your tummy's working. And switching sides. Nice big breath coming up and twisting over towards your right. Nice big breath, reaching up and twisting over towards your left. Nice big breath coming all the way up. And just relaxing your hands all the way down, taking your right leg out and making a little bit of a check mark out of your legs, taking a twist over towards your right toes, pointed towards the sky. And reaching up with your left hand. And relaxing down. And twisting over. Up. And coming up and twist. reaching up and coming up. Switch your legs. Left leg out, right leg bent in, and just dropping over. Getting a nice stretch in your low back. And right arm up. And coming over and twist. And rotation with your right arm up. And coming up and twist. And twisting over. And coming up. Gently making a V out of your legs. Nice big breath and just gently dropping forward. I have my elbows are kind of like mid-thigh. Pulling my body forward. And coming up. And over towards your right and dropping in. And coming up. And dropping in. And coming back up, reaching up. And dropping in. Pulling your body a little bit more towards me, like your head is reaching right through the screen. And coming up, reaching up and over. And coming up and once more over towards your left. Coming up, bring your knees together. Next you're going to come onto our back. So just gently letting your body come down. A little bit of a side motion, kind of a gentle low back massage. Nice big breath, reaching your hands up and dropping them over. And then again, rock your hips just a little bit. And letting your knees drop a little bit towards the right. And bring your knees up, over towards the left. Relaxing your body down. And coming up. Letting your hands relax down. Bring your right knee in, left leg up, and just slowly dropping about halfway out. You can feel a little stretch in your tummy on your left side. And coming up, and dropping down, and coming up. And once more, about halfway out. And coming back, switch legs, and dropping about halfway out, and coming up. And make sure when you're coming up, you should be able to feel your core engage. And coming up. Little side to side rock. And letting your knees and feet come back down. Putting your knees about hip width apart. And remember, your hips are where those hip bones stick out a little bit. And just gently, one leg at a time, dropping your knees out. I'm only going maybe a third of the way down. You don't need to go too far. This works that lower part of your core. We'll be doing a few more. So my hands are just holding in my tummy. I just like to make sure that they're working, and it actually makes me feel a little bit more stable. You can just, hang on to your mat, whatever works for you. Couple more. And last one. Bring your knees up, kind of roll your back again. And bring your feet up. And just drop your knees or your feet about a third of the way down. You can have your toes pointed or flat. It's up to you. Gently relaxing down. Do a few more. You should really feel that lower part of your tummy working. And if you feel like it's working too, like it's too much work and you're feeling it really pull, just really small movements. And honestly, I feel like I'm working a lot of muscle, even though I'm only moving my feet, maybe 10 inches, 12 inches. And dropping in, relaxing down. And bring your knees and feet up and pressing out. So I'm hanging out to my mat. You can have your arms out to the sides or whatever works for you. So it's like a gentle bicycle, kind of pressing your feet away. Keep going, and remember, you can make these movements even smaller. I tend to notice them a lot more actually if they are kind of a smaller movement. And if you notice some pressure change in your low back, maybe even try going up a little bit higher. See if that changes the pressure in the low back. If it ends up being a lot less, if I go too low, I can actually feel a little bit too much pressure in my low back. And gently dropping in. And relax your feet down. Little side to side rock. And dropping your knees over towards your right. And switching sides. And you don't have to go all the way down. You can actually keep your movements pretty small and just maybe do a small twist, because this is just stretching out that core that we've worked pretty hard. A few more over to each side. And depending on how far you let your knees drop down, you're getting a lot of back stretching and open of your core. You can stretch your arms, really kind of play with what's comfortable in your body. Excuse me. For me, it feels best with my arms out to the sides. You might notice that you want your hands up overhead, deepening the stretch in your tummy and your back. Gently bring your knees back up one at a time. And dropping your knees down, pressing yourself up. Coming into our hands and knees. And just letting your tummy relax down. We just did a lot of core work. And coming up. And dropping down. And coming up. And coming to a flat back, really engaging your tummy, holding your right hand out. It's like you're going to shake somebody's hand. And switch sides. And switch sides. But remember, every time you switch hands, make sure your core is really engaged. And switch sides. Notice that core really shifts in there. Nice big breath coming back into our cat stretch. And dropping down in. And coming up. Roll your toes underneath, just walking your hands back. Letting your legs do a nice stretch, opening up your Achilles. And tailbone up towards the sky. And dropping in. And coming up. And dropping down, coming up. Dropping in again. Probably notice that your feet have relaxed a little bit. Maybe your balance is a little bit better. Bring your hands to your knees, pressing your tailbone up. And coming all the way up. Bring your hands into heart center. Taking a twist towards your right. Remember, doing most of your twisting from about your belly button so you don't feel like your whole hips are twisting. And if you're not sure what you're doing that way, you can even have your hands kind of sitting on your waist. And twisting that way. Coming forward. And twist. You can have a little bend in your knee. Coming back. Nice big breath, taking a twist over towards your right. And coming back towards center. And twist. Nice big breath coming back towards center. This time bring your right leg up. And twist. And coming back around and twisting. And twist and take your leg off of the ground as it's comfortable, if it's easier to twist and then lift, or if it's easier to lift and then twist, or, kind of all at the same time. Relaxing down, switch sides. I kind of like to do a little bit of both at the same time with a lift. And holding in. I'm going to hold this balance pose. Coming back towards center. And gently coming kind of in a nice warrior three. So I'm going to move forward a little bit so I don't kick my wall. Keeping your hips down, have your chair handy if you need a little bit of balance. And coming up. And coming back. Warrior three. And just gently dropping in. Switching sides, we're doing our small rotation with a knee bend. into warrior three. So take this as slow as you need to, getting your balance, hips facing the floor. And coming up. Reaching out. You can always, instead of having your hands out, if it feels uncomfortable for you, you can always have your hands, at your waist. Too many directions at the moment. Whichever is easier for balance. Reaching all the way up. Swan dive all the way down. And coming to a flat back. Going into our chair pose. Nice big breath, taking a twist. And do a little more seating into your heels. And coming back and twist. A lot of core, a lot of balance today. And nice big breath holding in. So sitting up a little bit more so you feel like you're just pressing your tailbone back. Right leg up. And pressing out. And coming back. And resting down. Left leg up. And reaching out. And coming back. Resting down, reaching all the way up. Taking a stretch over towards your right. And switch sides. And just dropping in. Taking a step forward, just a small step, and opening up. We're actually going to do just a nice deep stretch. Bring your hands more on your waist if you want to. We'll start here just gently pressing forward. So don't lock your knee back. Have a little soft bend. You should feel that all the way up in the glutes. And coming up. You kind of play with your back foot and see if you need to have it a little bit wider or a little bit more narrow. This one I know is really tricky to not lock your knee, but just try to keep it a little bit, kind of semi-soft. And coming up. And this time we're going to put a little bit of a bend in the knee, dropping in and pressing up. And dropping back in a small bend again. And coming up. And left leg forward. And dropping in. You might find one leg is a little bit easier to keep that semi-soft bend, and I would say this is my leg for finding it a lot easier to not lock my knee. Try to keep your shoulders, facing forward and coming up and dropping forward and pressing up. Dropping in, coming forward, nice big breath, reaching all the way up. Nice big breath all the way up. Taking a twist towards your right. Coming back towards center and over towards your left. A nice big breath. I'm going to take a step back. Bring your knee up directly in front. And bring your ankle, your heel to your knee, underneath your kneecap. Holding in. Move your hands where it's comfortable. And resting your leg down. Nice big breath. Left leg up. And left ankle underneath your right knee. Relax your shoulders down a little bit. Take your ears and shoulders, separate them. Holding in. And just relaxing your feet down when you're ready. Nice big breath, reaching up and just dropping your hands to your knees, pressing your tailbone back. And working your way down. Bring your hands out in front, coming into a plank pose and a downward dog. Back to plank and a downward dog. Dropping your knees down, opening up your knees to the width of the mat. And gently, just bring your knees underneath and pressing up. Just take a few gentle breaths in. Thank you for joining us today. Namaste.